enemy. I pull her from my screen, just like in my dreams. I want to feel her touch, really on my crutch. I want my own Italy girl, and she would sing.
Welcome to the Catboy Rants. Sexy September. Now, like I told you, last time we watched Love Doll episode 1 and 2. This time it's Love Doll episode 3 and 4. Now, volume 1 is called Prince Charming, and that's episodes 1 and 2. Volume 2, which is episodes 3 and 4, is called The Rose Room. And as far as I know, there are only 4 episodes to this. If anybody knows that there's a third volume out there, keep it to yourself, because I don't want to watch any more of this. So, Love Doll, Volume 2, The Rose Room, episodes 3 and 4. Lovely shit. Just want to let you know why I have this. I can't leave things unfinished, okay? I've got sketchbooks full of unfinished drawings, yeah, but if I get like a series of something, I've got to get the whole damn thing. Long ago, I got a book series called the Spelljammer series, and I got book 5 of 6. Spent the next 9 years looking for books 1 through 4 and book number 6. Book number 6 was shit. I wish I'd never actually read the whole thing. I mean, books 1 through 5 were great. Book 6 was sick, stupid, idiotic. But that's how I do it. Same thing with Harry Potter. When I was as a TA once, I went ahead and read Harry Potter number 1 to the kids. And somebody told me it was a series, so I had to read the entire series. Yeah. So, that's why I got this guy. Because it's a fucking series. Luckily, it's just 2 fucking volumes. So, let's get to it. Episode 3 opens up with the backstory. Tells us, yes, Rachel went to a convent, her mother died, her mother was a love doll, and all that shit. I'm sorry, that's it, okay? Right away, it shows her having sex in the red outfit that she wore before. She's blindfolded, but she's getting ready for the party. Now, the party is where all the candidates will go, because there's more than one, fuckers. There's more than one person out there who's wanting to be a love doll. I don't know why you'd want to do this, but you get to. So, yeah. So, that's where all these love doll candidates go. Now, back at the house, we've got Duke Doucet, which is her uncle. Rachel, of course, that's Rachel, the love doll. Andrew, which is her lovey prince, who she saw in the last episode walking around with her best friend Beth. And we get a new character in on this, and we find out what the name of the male butler is. The new character is Rosalie. Rosalie is the maid who shaved her in the last episode. George is the butler that went to get her. So, we're all caught up. Now, at the dinner, at the party, all the love dolls wear a special outfit. It's not revealing in any way. It's like a little bow right here and a plain dress. Rachel finds Rosalie there, and she's very worried for her sister, her younger sister, who is going through the same training to be a love doll. Not by Duke Doucet, though, just another family. So, makes you wonder if every lord or noble in this land is trying to get their own love doll out there. Like, maybe this is like raising horses or greyhounds. Granted, I wouldn't really want to go see, the races for this. So, now, each candidate is taken away and is put through a test. And they're each given a number, so that way whoever they're going through the test, there's no, unless of course they know who they are, there's really no favoritism. Some of the tests are just, one-on-one. Some of them are groups. Actually, most of them are groups. And as you go along, you see a lot of these candidates get mind broken. I mean, there was this one girl who's sitting in a chair. She's just laughing, and her eyes are kind of glazed over as she's covered with, semen. Not guys who are on boats. Spooge. Or as the way they color it in this, it kind of looks like mustard that's been thrown on everybody. So, yeah. Not really sure how it's graded. I mean, it looks like all the guys had fun. I mean, the way that most of these women are covered. I mean, there's one shot where it shows this girl that's starting to cry about the whole thing. I mean, this just, it looks like it's either painful for them or just, just totally emotionally distraught for them. We do find out that some of the girls come too quickly. It's not too pleasurable for the guys, so if they're not up to par yet. Yeah. Rachel, however, the first time you see her tested is with this one guy, and they have sex. She goes through her whole gambit of her moves, and everything goes fine for her. And when she leaves, he asks her, "What's your name?" And she goes, I can't tell you my name, remember? But you can call me Love Doll number 3. Now, that night, since she did really well, the Duke goes, you did really well. From now on, I'm not going to send guys into your room to fuck you during the middle of the night. You're going to get actual sleep. And when I heard this, I was like, what? Okay, that's her reward? You're gonna go ahead and make it so that she can sleep. That's great, yeah. But I would have been like, you get 3 days off. No mass fucking for you. You're gonna get 3 days off. Let's give that cooch a nice pat down, Get it all like a massage, cool, get little cucumbers stuck up there, the whole works, No, it's just, we won't fuck you while you're sleeping so you can sleep. Sounds awesome. That night, Duke Doucet goes into the Rose Room. Now, as we remember from last episode, the Rose Room is that was basically the one room that rule he had was don't go into the Rose Room. So the Duke goes into the Rose Room. And Rachel decides she is going to run away to see Andrew. Because she saw Beth and Andrew together, and she's heard rumors that they're living together in this house somewhere close, and she's going to find out what's going on. So she heads out. As she's leaving, she's stopped by Rosalie. And Rosalie's like, you can't leave. If you leave, you'll be punished. And Rachel's like, I gotta go. I gotta see my lovely Andrew. I love him so much. I want to be with him. I want to have his babies. But she's like, but if you leave, I may get punished. And she's like, don't worry. I'll be back by sunrise. Is that all right? Rosalie's like, okay, I'll show you the way out. And so Rosalie shows Rachel the way out. Rachel gets lost. Next day, sunrise, she's still lost. But guess who finds her? No, it's not the Duke. No, it's not George the butler. No, it's her friend Beth and a dog. So, Beth takes her back to her house. And there they talk. And Beth tells her, look, I want to tell you something truthful. I love Andrew, but his heart is only for you, Rachel. His heart is only for you. And I'm so sorry I tried to take him away from you. I really am. And Rachel's like, oh, Beth. And Beth is like, oh, I love you, Rachel. And she's like, you're my best friend. And then lesbian sex! Lesbian sex! There's scissoring, and there's nipple licking. I know I kind of went like this, where it's supposed to be like, kind of thing. And there's
69 dudes!
Yeah. So Rachel's an active participant in this. So it's all right. Yeah, right? Huh? Oh, I forgot something. Didn't we tell Rosalie that we were going to be back at the house before sunrise? And most of this episode is just the sex scene between Beth and Rachel. And this happens for a full day. A complete day. So, she's found by Beth, and it's the sun is going down, and Rachel is found. Guess who finds her? Guess who comes to Beth's house to pick her up? Yes, it's George the butler. And he's smiling. He says, I gotta take you back. And you know what the punishment for Rosalie was? She was fucked to death. I'm not lying. There is a scene where Rachel comes in. She's wearing the red bondage outfit, and she comes up to her and says, "Why? We gotta get to our hospital." And the Duke's like, "No, fuck it. No, it's too late. It's your fault, Rachel. Your fault. You're the one who decided to go ahead and leave, and she helped you. So this is your fault, Rachel. Your frickin' fault." And Rosalie dies. We barely got to know her, and she died. Fuckers. Then Rachel is strung up to a nice torture device, and the Doucet says, "Everybody leave. I'm going to teach my niece a lesson." And it ends showing a whip in Duke Doucet's hand and a crack.
いいから出ろ。約束は守ってもらうぞ、レイチェル。
So recap. This shit went dark. Very dark. But just like last episode, there was death. There was a death that, we saw in episode 2, Rosalie. We didn't know her name. She was just a maid, and then we found out her name. We found out she had a sister, and to find out, her sister did very well in her Love Doll candidate thing. So, yeah, she gets to go on to round 2. But Rosalie won't see it, because she's fucking dead. Thanks to Rachel. Yeah. So, that's the end of episode 3. Episode 3. Episode 4. Same thing like episode 3. There's a opening talking about she was a young girl, mother died, she went to a convent, she left, she met Doucet, she became a love doll, blah 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 blah. Beginning. Opens up with this brothel/bar. Everybody's down there drinking beer. There's some pictures of naked ladies up in the window. So you can basically say, I want that one. I want that one with that one's hair. That's what I want. Looks good. But you go in there and you find out there's a man called Mr. L who goes to see a prostitute there named Marcia. Remember Marcia? She's the one who said that roses smelled like whores? Yeah, she's there. Wow. Why the fuck is she? We don't know yet. We get to find out. Yeah, there's a story. So, Marcia is there, and she is met by Mr. L, and Mr. L shows her a vibrating dildo, and they have sex with that, and then he leaves. He has no sex with her. I mean, he just uses a vibrating dildo on her pussy and a regular one in her bottom, and he plays with her boobs, but that's it. There's no sex. And the reason is, he says, he just tells her to go. There's nothing she can do. Now, Marcia wants to find out who Mr. L is. And she will do this, and she will sell his secret. That's at least what she's trying to do. Now, next scene, you see Rachel in the city. In fact, just outside the brothel/bar that Marcia's in. Now, that place, she is told to go in and have sex with someone who's never had sex before, a.k.a. Deflower a Virgin. She goes in and she meets up with a young boy who, I will kid you not, you could tell he's a virgin even if you were freaking Ray Charles. you would just be like, that man's a virgin. Look at him. So they go in. He's a lot younger than her, but it's probably Dad decided to go ahead and get his son's cherry popped, or Mom decided to get her son's cherry popped, or his friends decided to get his cherry popped, or he was like, you know what, I don't like the blow-up dolls anymore. I'm going to get my cherry popped. So that's what they did. And while she's having sex with him, she's starting to think of Andrew and says, no matter what happens, I'm doing this because I love Andrew and I will spend the rest of my life with him. The party's coming up, because there's a party coming up. There's a party coming up where she's going to see Andrew. He's going to be there. And that's where they're going to say, this is our newest love doll, Rachel. And she's thinking that if Andrew's there, whisk her away, and they'll be happy ever after together. Did I mention she's thinking about this when she's having sex with a young boy? Yeah. So, when she's done, she leaves, and Marcia is there and doesn't know who she is to begin with, and starts telling her off, saying, you stay out of this, okay? You leave. I don't like your kind here. You're taking away my clientele. And then she finds out it's Rachel. And she tells Rachel, the reason I'm doing this is because my family lost all their money after you left. Apparently there was a big scandal, and now I have to do this to get money. It's all your fault, Rachel. It's all your fault. She doesn't say it's all her fault. It just implies. And she tells her about her exclusive client who never has sex with her, named Mr. L. And how that Mr. L, she can tell, has an injury to his right eye. Now, I know in the real world this doesn't matter because, there could be thousands of people there that have an injury to their right eye, but this is a cartoon. This is fucking a hentai. So we know who the guy with the injury to the right eye is. That's Rachel's uncle, Duke Doucet. Now, Rachel hears all this, and she also hears that Marcia wants to find out who he is and sell all his secrets and totally destroy him so she can use the money to finally become a noble again. Rachel hears this and realizes she's talking about my uncle. I gotta take this bitch down. Marcia meets up with a gentleman to speak to an editor who works for the local newspaper to tell him, I have some information on Mr. L, as well as, of course, I know a young lady named Rachel, who she is being fostered by a local duke, and if we do this right, if we do the story right, we can ruin both of them, and I will get all this money. And the editor's like, well, that's good, but what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and set up another actual date with him, and then we will be there and we will take pictures of the whole thing. That way we can discredit him, we'll find out who he is, and you'll get your money. And Marcia's like, yeah, I'll do that. Next scene, Marcia's dead. Marcia's dead. She's been sexed to death. She's been fucked to death. Yeah, just like Rosalie. Only this time you could tell on the face. I mean, the eyes are totally vacant. Her body's just gray. It's just sick. I mean, it's just wrong. But yeah, that's what they do. She's dead. And George the butler comes up to Rachel and says, we've taken care of that prostitute problem. Duke Doucet didn't have her killed. Rachel did it. What the fuck? Rachel, this girl we think is very, well, she's trying to get in touch with Andrew. She's trying to go to her love. That we've seen her as this victim this entire time. Used her power to kill Marcia.
マーシャ、ごめんなさい。すべてはおじさまのためなの。おじさまの。
And you know what? I don't care because Marcia was a bitch. And she thought roses smelled like whores. Roses don't smell like whores. Whores smell like whores and roses smell like roses. Damn it. Two different things. So, Her uncle wants to talk to her, tells her he knows she had Marcia killed. She doesn't deny it, tells her that, she knows he can't get it up. That's why Marcia and him never had sex. He cannot get his willy up, soft. And she asks him, why? Why is it can't you get it up? It's because of the war. I know you lost your eye in the war. It must have been because there's a scene of you in a war going like this. Did you lose it in the war? Did you just poke yourself in the eye? Did you run around the house with scissors? We don't know. All we know is that maybe you got shot in the eye, or maybe you did something with your eye in the war. He's like, oh, no, it wasn't the war. And she goes, well, what is it? He goes, I fell in love with my sister. So yeah, it all goes down to incest. Remember, kids, incest is the best. Put your sister to the test. So, yeah, Duc Doucet was in love with his sister and wanted to get it on with her, loved her with all his heart. And when she got married to Rachel's father, he felt that life wasn't worth living anymore. So he went out and banged hooker after woman, everyone, any woman with a vagina, he went out there and had sex with. Like Shatner. He pulled a Shatner, okay? He pulled a Kirk, went out there and fucked everybody that he could. But he couldn't do it. After a while, his stiffy went all limp like a noodle. So, yeah. So then he decided, if I can't get it up thanks to women, I'm going to go ahead and go to war. Because as we all know, there's only two things on a mailman's mind, and that is fighting and sex. In hentais, that's all it is. Or any television, movie, book. That's all that's on their mind. So, yeah. Now, once he came back, when he was in the war, he got a letter from the office saying, hey, by the way, your sister died. He runs home, finds her dead, and just loses it. Rachel, because he's upset, Rachel comes over and starts to try to stroke him through his pants and says, I'll help you. He's like, no, I don't want this. This is wrong. I cannot have sex with my niece. I mean, murder's all well and good. I mean, I could do that all fucking day. But no sex with my niece. That is totally wrong. I mean, I can go out there and have people just totally rape you in front of me. But no, I will not have sex with you. No, I can get dogs to go and rape you. I can get guys just to go ahead and have you suck them off. I can go ahead and have every person in the world have sex with you. And I could kill all those other people. But there will be no sex between us. So he runs away to the Rose Room. And she follows. And in the Rose Room, can you guess what's in the Rose Room? I'll give you a hint. It's his sister. Yes, he goes, after she died, I went out and I got her out of the grave, took her here, got her totally preserved, and made it so she would totally be beautiful forever. And he goes, the reason I do all the things I do to you is because I want to turn you into my sister, because I love you so much. I loved her so much, but I can't do it because you're my niece, and that would be wrong. And this would be a great time for the show to be like, and Duc Doucet then decided to let her go, let her be with Andrew, and he realized the error of his ways. He turned himself in for killing 2 people that we know of, and took the rat for third so Rachel could have a nice life with Andrew, and everybody could live happily ever after. Yeah, that doesn't happen. No, not in any fucking way. Now, actually, the ghost of his sister shows up, tells him that she loves him and it's all right, and then he and Rachel have sex. And that's it. That's the whole thing. That's how they end it. They just end with him coming, and that's it. Though there is one thing that did puzzle me about this whole thing while they were having sex, and that is, his carpet did not match the drapes. I mean, he was black down here, but he was blonde up here. So, you know, I'm not quite sure why, but maybe he likes to dye his pubes. Maybe he's naturally a black-haired person up here. You know, maybe he's a brunette. I don't know. But you know what? That's what he wants to do. Well, that and they're having sex in the Rose Room, which is basically the coffin for Rachel's mom. So this entire time, you know, they're getting watched by Rachel's mom's dead body. So it's not like that's a bad thing. I mean, some people get to do that, some people don't. I mean, I wonder what happens when people try to go and have sex in like mausoleums. You know, probably they're the first people to get eaten during The Walking Dead. So now, one thing about this. About these hentai, you can tell the animation really changes along the way, and I'm not quite sure. It's just one of those things you can find out when you watch a anime. Is it starts out, unless of course it's very short or very well known, it starts out with a rough animation style, and then slowly you can tell they got better and better and better until finally, say like 5th season, it looks polished, and it doesn't get better than that. Yeah. So that was Love Doll, and you know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, there were some things that kind of just hit you way out there. I mean, one being that we went from, I mean, in episode 3, we went from her having lesbian sex with Beth straight to finding out Rosalie's dead. I mean, there really wasn't a buffer in between. It was just like, thank you. Oh, I gotta go home. Shit, she's dead. Get her to a hospital. No. And that's it. She doesn't even try to do anything else. It's just, we need to get her to the hospital. No. Okay. She's dead. Too late. It is now. So that's the end of Sexy September. Oh, wait. I just realized something. I started this late. There's one more week. Oh, hell. What will I do? Next week? Surprise?
今宵、私はアイドールとして社交界デビューをいたします。この日のためにどれほどの試練に耐え抜いてきたことでしょう。お母様とおじ様はきっとどこかで見守っていてくださることでしょう。
Time for go to bed.